I might have gotten it, I don't know. As a man with far too many jackets and coats, I can confidently call myself a professional coat wearer. You know, my business card will say Carl Murawski, licensed electrician, YouTuber, professional jacket wearer. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about if I had to categorize all my coats and all my jackets into 4 different types, what would those be? The purpose of this video is to hopefully give you a guide as to what would fit most people's lifestyle. Now, I understand that some people live in a climate where really the heaviest layer they're going to need is something like this. So some people will not need coats. Some people, on the other hand, will live somewhere in the northern hemisphere where they're going to need even heavier coats than this. So I'm giving you kind of a broad, general terminology kind of roundup here. Hopefully that's useful to everybody. And I'm going to try to include different versions for different climates without getting too verbose. Anyway, let's get on with the list. Number 1 and nearest and dearest to my heart is a proper work jacket. But you're probably saying, but Carl, I work in an office. I don't need a work jacket. Well, hold on there and put your attitude away for a second. You may need a work jacket at some point in your life because maybe you own a home and you have to do things around the house and the outside when it's colder. A work jacket is always nice to have, at the very least, as a good layer over your good clothes. Or maybe you'd like to do some gardening. Or maybe you just like to go outside on hikes and you don't want to wear some technical piece. Or at the very least, I'm willing to bet that at some point in your life, somebody will ask you to help them move, which is a terrible spot to be in. But anyway, they may do that. And in which case, a work jacket is always good to have at the ready. Now, a good work jacket varies widely. From the lightest stuff, which is basically just one layer of fabric, to the super duper heavy duty stuff like the Heat Straps Chief Coat, which basically stands up on its own, and everywhere in between. What you're going to want to look for in a good work jacket is obviously a material that's durable, because workwear prioritizes durability and functionality above style. So that's the idea here. This isn't about looking cool, it's about being protected and having this thing serve your needs while you're at work, whatever that may look like for you. Now, most workwear has a boxier cut, and a lot of times I get messages from people who just bought their, Dickies or Carhartt or Duluth Trading jacket and say, I like it, but it has a really roomy fit. I wish it was a little slimmer. But one of the reasons that they did this, especially in the early days, workwear was really trying to allow people to have a good range of movement without the advent of stretch fabrics and stuff that we have today. So a lot of times these things will fit boxier to allow you to do all that stretching and reaching and moving that you'll have to do while performing work. Now, as fabric goes for your work jacket, look for things like duck canvas, denim, cordura, but even versions in corduroy and moleskin are available. Now, these don't have to be these awful looking utilitarian coats. You can get a jacket or a coat that looks very good, but it also will serve you while you're doing your work. Matter of fact, my favorite casual jackets are patterned after work coats, but we'll get into more of that later. Now, one of my favorite work coats of all time is the legendary chore coat. This is just so useful to so many people that I think everybody should have one in their wardrobe. So if you don't have a work jacket already, maybe this is a good option for you. And I did a whole video on the good, better, best chore coats. I'll put a link to that here, but you can go check that out and that'll give you an idea of what you're getting for your money. I think the cheapest one was like $25 or something like that. You'll want to go a little bit more expensive than that to actually get some longevity out of your piece, but still, the point remains that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on a great work coat. For brands, of course, there are the legendary ones like Carhartt, Dickies, Duluth Trading Company, but also some newer players on the scene like True Work, 1620 Workwear, and Snickers Workwear. There are so many great brands out there, and I encourage you to go ahead and check out what your options are as far as getting yourself a great work jacket. Now, just as you can simplify and uncomplicate your wardrobe, the same can be said for your skincare system, which brings me to today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Tiege Hanley have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend that you start with their Level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2-time per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Their products have made my skin look and feel better than ever, but you don't have to just take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tiege Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping and low-cost shipping to most other countries. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description below and you'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Click that link and get started today. Number 2, the casual jacket. Now, this is probably the most blanket term of all, and this could mean a lot of different things, but this is basically the jacket that you throw on over everything to do almost everything. So from meeting friends for dinner, to taking a walk with your favorite four-legged friend, to going to the post office. This is the jacket that you do it all in, and it only gets better with time and use. Now these of course come in a wide variety of insulation levels and fabrics, but my advice is to go simple with something that has enough pockets to hold all of your stuff with ease without looking too technical. After all, I never really saw anybody who has a great everyday jacket that is just filled with pockets or has all kinds of pull strings and all kinds of things all over it that's just too complicated. Oftentimes, I know for myself, my favorite coats or jackets are the ones that are simple and look good with basically everything. Now, choosing a great casual jacket will depend on your needs, your style, and especially your climate, but my advice would be to go simple. A jacket that has enough pockets to hold all of your stuff, but also is so middle of the road that it looks good with most of your wardrobe and nobody really notices it. Something that kind of blends into the background that, nobody says, hey, here comes Steve and his jacket, one of those kind of things. Now for me, it doesn't get any better than a great leather jacket. The world of leather jackets is definitely vast, but there are some makers out there who are really bringing an artistic approach to it with designs that you've never seen before in leathers that maybe you've never seen before. The reason I love these so much is because they can last you for the rest of your life and even get passed down for generations. It's pretty amazing, especially if you take care of them. Now, a close second to that would be the waxed canvas jackets. I also love those. They can look fantastic. Everything from the Ship John Wills jacket to the cheap coat one, like I mentioned before, although that's more of a work coat. But there are plenty of great options out there. Thetty is one that I'm looking into myself. Fabrics for this one are just all over the map. So everything from wool to leather to cotton to nylon to tech fabrics, whatever you want. Hopefully they've put an insulation layer beneath that to suit your needs and your climate. Now my favorite casual jacket of all that I own is the Himmel Brothers A1. I also wear my Free Note cloth Mariner jacket quite a bit. Now that's just a dark blue, very simple 2-pocket design, and I think that's why I wear it so much. Also, the Huckberry Flint and Tinder Wax Trucker jacket is up there for a lighter weight option, but basically, one of the keys is to make sure that you could fit one layer beneath this jacket. So if you want to put a sweatshirt on beneath it, you want to put a light, sweater or something like that, that way it extends the range. So you don't have one jacket that you can only wear over a t-shirt, one that you can only wear over a shirt like this. Make sure you have a little bit of room beneath so that you can accommodate the different fluctuations in temperature. Number 3 is the formal coat. Now, aside from weddings and funerals, which is kind of what most people point to as to why you need a suit, this is also great for the occasional, I felt like dressing up today kind of thing. Or going out on that date to a fancy restaurant. Whatever it is, this is the coat that can cover all of those bases. And you can get a lot of different types, all the way from a great coat, which looks good in the stuffiest gatherings, to something like the pea coat, which is almost borderline workwear. There's a wide variety, even just in this category, so let's get down to it. Now, a great formal coat is something that can go with your formal attire. So one of the biggest things with this is making sure that you fit it over a suit jacket. Because if you are going to wear a suit jacket or a blazer beneath it, this kind of coat has to go over. It doesn't go in place of that jacket. That's a mistake that I made in the past, and hopefully you don't, because it really sucks when you have to either choose between a coat and a jacket. They should work in conjunction with each other. Matter of fact, make sure also that the sleeve extends past your suit coat jacket so that it actually is an overcoat going over everything you have. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to formal coats and jackets, I think that the pea coat is probably the one that I could recommend to almost anybody, because this is the type that could almost cover 3 categories in a way. It could be a work jacket. After all, it was based in maritime, It could be a great casual coat. Looks fantastic with almost everything. And it can really start to verge on the edge of formal coat territory. Now, when we're talking about formal attire, a pea coat might just be a little bit too casual, depending on your situation. For some people, though, this might be one of the only coats that you need. Now, finding a great formal coat is actually pretty simple, because most of the time, brands that are offering fine suiting will also have coats to go along with those. So, off the top of my head, Suit Supply and Hockerty would be great on the more affordable side of things. Maybe a step up from that would be brands like Lanieri. And then, of course, there's the secondhand option. So make sure that you check your secondhand store, because a lot of these things get traded in. And especially when it comes to wool, things like Harris Tweed, they last forever. So you might be able to find a good one at a thrift shop, have it tailored, and then you get one for basically nothing. That's very, very expensive. As a matter of fact, I found a cashmere camel coat just this way. Cashmere. I think I paid like $150 for it. Not too bad. Now, finally, number 4 is the heavy coat. Now, this is the kind of thing that's going to really drastically vary from somebody who's living in South Florida to somebody who's living in Alberta, Canada. Your needs are going to be completely different. Here in New England, it can get pretty cold during the winter months, a few degrees below zero for a few weeks at a time. Now, I know for some people that's not really cold, but either way, it's cold enough for me. And when it comes to warm, heavy jackets, none other is warmer than the parka. The parka is a long coat, which usually starts somewhere around the knee, typically has an attached hood, and these are the kind of things that you even see people who are they're enduring the most extreme conditions are wearing. A parka allows you a lot of coverage while still allowing a little bit of freedom of movement and keeping you damn warm. Now, for my money, it doesn't get any better than the B3 bomber jacket. Now, you could probably spot one of these from a mile away because of the very broad collar. Typically, it has 2 straps coming down from the side. These were originally designed for pilots who were flying in cockpits that had no heat, and they just looked amazing. Matter of fact, General Patton was often seen wearing his B3 bomber jacket. And I did a whole video on leather bomber jackets if you want to check that out. I'll put a link here, somewhere. But either way, these are awesome. Shearling, very, very warm. And if you want to step it up a notch, let's say this just isn't enough for you, there is the B7 Bomber Parka. This thing is really only meant for, extreme cold weather conditions. Never owned one, never ever even put one on, but this was designed originally for pilots who were flying over the Alaskan territory in their cockpits with no heat. Could you imagine? So not something for the faint of heart. Now, for a good heavy jacket or coat, again, depending on your climate, look no further than the brands that are supplying the people who are facing the harshest conditions out there. Mountaineering and people who are spending time in very, very cold conditions. So a lot of times you're going to find the tech brands are doing this. So Arc'teryx and North Face, Patagonia, Mountain Hardwear, brands like that all make fantastic coats. But when it comes to the B3 and the B7, like I mentioned, if you want something that's a little more stylistic and also warm, well, then Eastman Leather makes a great one, Cockpit USA, and then there are some more stylized versions from other brands as well. But don't forget woolen options too, because wool is basically nature's super fabric, and if you're looking to keep it more on the rugged side, then this is exactly what you want. So brands like, of course, Filson, Pendleton Woolen Mills, and Weather Wool will be a great option for those. But again, I accept that the term heavy coat is going to mean something different for everyone. So those are the 4 types of coats that I think pretty much everybody could use, again, unless you're in a cold climate or a tropical climate where it's going to change a little bit. But either way, those are the 4 categories. Now, this video is actually a bit of a teaser because I have accumulated a vast array of coats and jackets, and I'm going to thin the herd quite a bit. I'm talking about like major. I want to get rid of basically all but 5. That's what I want to do. And I'll be making a video on that in the future, but this is kind of a bit of a way to maybe get my own headspace in order to cull the herd just a little bit. Anyway, that'll be coming soon. But I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.